Hello, my lovelies. Happy Friday, friends. Welcome in to What About This, an extension of the Eighth and Grace podcast, where we are going to chat just enough to get us through lunch. Not an entire meal, but a bite sized snack, if you will. Think about this as a bestie convo to keep us going through the rest of our day. Are y'all ready? Let's go. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to What About This? I have tried so hard to say, hey, friend, and I just can't help it. It's just going to have to be y'all. And, I just realized y'all have had me by myself solo. This is the third episode in a row. Just want to make sure y'all knew that. This is the off the cuff corner of the Eighth and Grace podcast. Our tangents are holy, our rants are real, and the leftovers, y'all know I keep thinking they're the best part. This is where we spill the tea that didn't make it to Tuesday. Say the things we're not always sure we can say out loud, but we probably need to. They've been really tender and yappy, and sometimes they're a whole ramble. And think of these episodes like our voice memos. I'm sending them to y'all, my best friends, and all of them start with, okay, wait, what about this? Pull up a chair, prop your phone on the bathroom sink, get ready to go walking, turn it up in your car, whatever it is. Let's talk about it. Because, friend, there's always one more thing to say, and this is the space for it. So, it's Friday, and I have had the busiest week. I don't know about you guys, but it has truly been a busy, busy week for me. So, I came back to Tennessee. I was invited to do a podcast with my friend Lauren Johnson and Rebecca Young. And let me just tell y'all, we talked about Heal Ministries. And if you are not familiar with Heal Ministries, you need to look them up. They have a house called the James House in Uganda. It is the most precious ministry, and they are also giving free water because they've dug a well deeper than most of the wells around them. And so when it was a drought there, all of the other wells dried up, and their well is the only well that had water. And just thinking about that just reminded me of the woman at the well and meeting Jesus. It was just listening to her was absolutely beautiful. And so I went to Nashville, we did the podcast, and then I went to the benefit gala with them in Franklin and learned more about Hill Ministries. But before I even got to Nashville, I kept hearing the Lord say to go back to my father's house, literally for a few days before I even had known that I was coming to do this podcast. I just kept hearing the Lord say, go back to your father's house. And if I'm honest, it wasn't an easy invitation. There's been history here. There's been some hard things, some things that I'm worried about, some things that have been on my heart, and there's healing still happening. But guess what? I went, and what I found was grace upon grace. And would you have ever thought anything different? So this morning, I'm trying to think about it. I went to the fair last night. Okay, first of all, I have not been to the Wilson County Fair in over 5 years. So I went to the fair last night and actually got to be golf carted in. So I didn't have on a tiara and I wasn't waving like I was in a parade. But let me just tell you, y'all know your gal was thinking she was. So walked around the fair and had the best Mexican street corn and the crunchiest corn dog. And if you know what I'm talking about, if you're a corn dog lover, if it's not crunchy on the outside and like warm and kind of crunchy, not crunchy, but you know what I mean? Like I can't have it crunchy on the outside and then like ooey gooey on the inside because then it's just disgusting. Anyway, had the best corn dog, spent the night with my mom. We went this morning to Basic Eatery in Lebanon on the square. And listen, this is not sponsored in any way by Basic Eatery, but I am telling you right now, if you are ever in Wilson County, if you're ever near Wilson County, ever go to Lebanon, Tennessee, you have to go to the Basic Eatery on the square. They have the best acai bowl that I've ever had. And I am a pretty big acai bowl connoisseur. They make their own bee butter, and I think that's like their secret sauce to the recipe because I'm always asking for extra bee butter. but it is so, so good. And so I crave them. Let me tell you, I crave them. So if I'm in Charleston, I'm thinking about them. And then as soon as I get here, it's like the first thing I do off the square, and I have to make sure I get one before I go home. So I'm driving home today back to Charleston. I have to go get um, an acai bowl. But when I was on my way to Franklin the other day to the Heal Ministries gala, y'all, I was so hungry and I had not had an acai bowl yet. I had just gotten into town, so I knew I was going to go get one. And they also have a menu that has like breakfast stuff, sandwiches, wraps, salads, but they had an adult grilled cheese. Okay, it was the best grilled cheese. So it had like multiple cheeses on it and like some kind of, I don't know, I think they even call it like an ooey gooey butter spread. And it was absolutely amazing. So I've spent this whole time telling y'all about Basic Eatery, and it's not an ad. I'm not sponsored, even though, hey, listen, I'm not above it. And they wouldn't even have to like pay us for ad space, just give us acai bowls. But anyway, so this morning, I am getting ready to drive back to Charleston. I'm standing at my dad's house in the kitchen. I have a Starbucks shaken espresso, um, brown sugar shaken espresso. Oh my gosh, y'all, you got to get that with the sugar cold foam. But y'all know me and y'all been here with me for a while. At my mom's house, she is like crunchy. And so there's no coffee. And she does have like an espresso, but there's nothing to go in it. And I can't do just the pod. So I get to my dad's, getting ready to talk to you guys, doing another table chat. And my dad's already making me coffee. So I have now going to get to have my hot coffee with my cold coffee. So you already know that it's going to be a good day. Okay. Back to what we were talking about. The trip started in Nashville. I was sitting with Lauren and Rachel, recorded the podcast for Heal Ministries. Y'all, they shared story after story of God's faithfulness. Like the day clean water began flowing right at their gate for the entire community, like I was telling you. And I could not stop thinking about the woman at the well and the compassion of a savior who meets both the need you can name and the need you didn't even know that you don't even know how to speak. So, like all of the people and getting to see them come up to the gate to get water that aren't even a part of the James house. I can't even tell you. I sat there and cried like a baby. Just I listening to the stories and then getting to see that on the screen and getting to see some precious babies from Uganda. But so I'm sitting there, sitting at the gala, and all I could think about was we may never, ever walk the red roads, the red dirt roads of Uganda. But for those of us who love missions, and maybe that's you, maybe your role is to sow and pray about it. Read their story and ask God if this is your yes, if this is a yes for you. Once again, this is not sponsored by Heal Ministries. I just had the opportunity to sit down and learn more about a ministry that I was not even privy to. I had no idea even about Heal Ministries until I was invited to do the podcast, which I feel terrible about because I wish I would have known about them sooner. But if your heart is for missions and you can't go, I would love for you to look into Heal Ministries. So then, after the podcast, after the gala, got to come back to Lebanon, got to have some family time. I walked in the square, popped into a couple of my friends' boutiques, ate at the Town Social. That's another restaurant. If you're ever in Lebanon, you got to trust your gal. Go there. They have a new rooftop, and they're the only restaurant in Lebanon on the square or anywhere in Lebanon for that matter that has a rooftop. So it's super cool. And then I ate, of course, at the Basic Eatery, which I started telling y'all about. Telling you, if you ever have an acai bowl there, you'll be like me. You'll never stop thinking about it. And I didn't know today was going to be a foodie episode, but evidently that's where we're going. And then, y'all, okay, so I got to come back to my dad's, got to see my little brother, my sis in love, and my sweet little nieces and my nephew. And there is another new restaurant in Watertown that we ate at. And it was the sweetest little spot. My brother had them make him like a build your own. And he had a chicken bacon ranch pizza. I didn't try it. It had ranch drizzle on top, but it looked amazing. And my sister in love got a buffalo chicken sandwich, and I got a smash burger. It was so good. If you're ever in Watertown, tiny little town. Y'all know that's some of my old stopping grounds in Wilson County. If you're ever there, trust me, you'll want to go there. And I love supporting local. That's one of the biggest things about talking to you about Basic Eatery and about Town Social. Um, and this little spot in Watertown, and shame on me, I don't know the name, but it is the only like sit down restaurant that's new like that there in Watertown. So I'll put it in the show notes whenever I think of the name, but it was so good. But I love supporting local. And then I have spent the rest of my time outside of podcasting, outside of all these dinners and food that I've eaten, sitting at my parents' pool and just looking out over the hills of Tennessee. I have sat here with butterflies flying all around me. They've landed on my big toe, they've landed on my leg. My dad has some hummingbird feeders, so just watching, there's like 15 hummingbirds out here, and watching the hummingbirds. So it's been a busy week, but then I had a little rest at the end before I'm getting ready to drive back. So that's good. But I miss being home, and those little hummingbirds zipping past me, it was just like little bursts of joy and reminded me why God told me to get back to my father's house. And it was so crazy because, like I said, there was some healing here. There was some things that needed to be done. And I knew that I was going to be coming to do this podcast at some point. But then when um, the gala was around the same time and I got invited to go to that, I was like, okay, this is when I'll go do this podcast. I'll go to the gala because Rebecca, that came from Heal Ministries, her and her husband actually live there in Uganda. And they live there right outside the James house, in a house that they've built with their family. And it was needed, it was healing. I've had therapy, I did my aqua therapy. I love it that I am in pool jazzercise, but with this hip of mine, it's actually getting me back into, like, a restorative function, and so I'm so thankful that I have been able to be here. I've had some rest and pool therapy, but just watching the hills, like, stretch out before me, it was like the kind of healing you don't rush. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you just wanna sit in it. Not that I didn't have so many things I needed to do. I have 2 exam papers due tonight in my seminary class by midnight Mountain Time, which thank God is 2 o'clock Eastern Time, that I've gotta finish because somebody is just big on procrastinating right now. And I think it's just because my soul is craving rest. I don't know if y'all have ever been there, but it's not like the things that I'm doing aren't important. And not that I don't want to steward them well, but right now, if I can find a moment to just sit and just be and think and pray, like, I love it. I came here. No radio, no podcast on. I sat and talked to God. I sat and talked to myself. I've talked to the windows probably. But I love to just sit down in the quiet and just be sometimes. And this has been the most perfect ending to such a busy week for me. And then the Wilson County State Fair, it's the 250th anniversary. And for me, my first time going in 5 years, y'all. So I was so excited tonight to get to see, I mean, last night to get to see him cut the ribbon and walk around. It was just so nostalgic. And I can remember when I lived here in Tennessee and we took our kids to the fair, but I walked through the barns, looked at the pigs, looked at the cows. It was just such a nostalgic feeling that I needed. And I'm thinking that all of this is what God was telling me about going back to my father's house, because sometimes transformation is just showing up where you once couldn't. And I've really been sitting in that. Now, going back home to Charleston, got little Maddie Mad's third birthday party tomorrow. Can y'all believe that my Maddie Mad is 3 years old? I can't believe Hadley and Lucy are 8, much less my little Mad being 3. But yeah, crazy, crazy, crazy. My heart's full. My soul is rested. My hands are open for whatever God has next. And there are some big things coming on the horizon. I want you all, as my besties, to be praying about with me, because a lot of it involves you, and you guys are going to be just as active in it as me. And maybe this is the reminder you needed today, too, that sometimes going back isn't about revisiting the past. It's about discovering the person you've become since you left. And that's truly what I've been sitting in for 2 days now and just sitting here like, Lord, here I am, send me. So I know this has been a ramble today and I have went back and forth. I hope y'all have been able to keep up with me on this Friday, especially if you're sitting there eating lunch and you're like, okay, girl, I hear you. Or if you're like me and I've had an acai bowl, but talking about all the food's already making me hungry. But here's my prayer for you today, that you would see God's grace in unexpected places, that you would have the courage to return where He calls you and the joy to receive what He's prepared there. Because I'm telling you, He knows best, even when we are afraid to go back to where He's calling us to. He knows best. So I love y'all. I'm getting ready to head back to Charleston. We'll have an episode for you on Tuesday of the Eighth and Grace podcast. It will be with Lauren Johnson and Rachel. We talk a little bit about girl talk. We have some girl chat, but we talk a lot about Heal Ministries and what that looks like if you want to learn more about that. So until next time, I just pray grace upon grace for wherever you go. I love y'all. Bye. Friend, if this episode made you hungry or you're thankful for all the food recommendations that I gave you on this episode, would you please share it with a friend, maybe who needs the same recommendations? But would you also do me a favor and leave a review on Apple or Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts? It is the best thing that you can do to show Eighth and Grace love. And what about this on Fridays? Your words in the review and your 5 stars help more women find this space where faith meets the fallout. You can also subscribe to my Substack, Musings of Grace, if you would like to continue reading words that I have to share. And if something in today's conversation stuck with you, made you laugh, you want to ask, hey, what was the name of that restaurant? Tag me at Brandy A. Dawson on Instagram, hashtag Eighth and Grace. I love to see what God's doing and stirring in your corner of the world. Also, if you want to DM me, I love, love, love to hear from you guys. I am so thankful that you are here. I love this community with everything in my heart. And I'm so thankful that you listen and that you love this podcast as much as I do. Okay. Just want you to know one last thing. You can know that God's shoulders are stronger than yours. He can handle whatever you have going on today. You can tell the truth to Him without fear, and you can live free from what you were never meant to carry. Even here, even now, you are loved. Thank y'all again so much for listening.